That's a hard-hitting song right there. I like that. That's a good start. Little metal, little sporty. I like that. But what's up, everybody? I'm your host for the Sports Addict Podcast, the football catching, the wall climbing, the TV watching, the girl stealing host with the most, Ethan A. Dobbins. And this is episode numero dos of the Sports Addict Podcast. How's everybody doing? I know I already said this, but I really want to know. You got an A on that test? Wow, good work. I know you've been studying that class. Really, that's impressive. I know that teacher's been giving you a hard time. But let's get back on topic. So the first topic on today's podcast involves the MLB, but more specifically, the train wreck, the Firesale, the team with no heartbeat, the team that's getting the crap kicked out of them right now on every single social media platform. It is, of course, the Miami Marlins. Now, I want to try to get into the head of Jeter, Bruce Sherman, and the group of investors that have taken over the Marlins. Because in a few months, they've already become the most hated people in South Florida. A very hard task, I'll tell you that. But they've done it. So they were taking over a team, that finished under 500 for the more than 5 consecutive years. Marlins haven't had a winning season in God knows how long. I think in 2009. So they finished this year 77-85. So not the best, not the worst. I mean, they honestly looked like they were just 1 or 2 pitchers away from breaking the duck, finally making the playoffs. Because, man, they were easily one of the best hitting teams of baseball. So, as Derek Jeter, what would you do? What was your first move if you were Derek Jeter? Why would he do what he's done so far? Honestly, what are they getting back in these trades of all these superstars? I mean, seriously, what have they gotten back? Just minor leaguers? Who are these players? I mean, who are these guys? Are they actually going to start for the Marlins? Man, you have a lot of good questions, I mean, seriously, you're a good listener. I like you. You can continue listening. You're pretty cool. But let's get into more detail about what the Marlins have done since Jeter has taken over, and a little more insight about Derek Jeter and what his motivations are this season. What are his goals? So right now, Derek Jeter's annually going to make $5 million as the CEO of the Marlins after taking over. And a big thing people are missing but are talking about is every year the Marlins make a profit, which they are projected to make $65 million profit because they're about to do a new deal with, I think, CBS for like $45 million. So they're going to make a profit this year. Jeter gets an extra $2 million bonus per year that the Marlins profit. So a nearly 50% increase to his already high $5 million salary. So if you were Derek Jeter, I mean, I'm not going to blame the dude. If I was making that much, and if I can make $2 million more per year just by making a profit, I might not trade all these good players, but I would definitely try to do anything I can to make a profit. Because that's what you do when you put your money into a business. I mean, owners of, big teams, obviously, they want the team to succeed, but it's more about making a profit, let's be honest. Unless there's no Mark Zuckerberg out there who doesn't care about money and is just hoping for the best, honestly. But some owners may care more about success than others. Right now, Jeter is going to take the long route. The 76ers trust the process, MLB edition route. But let's get into the stats. Let's get into the main beef. I love my stats. I can't make any comments. I can't make opinions unless they're based and backed up by facts. So let's get into this. So Marlins finished the MLB this year with the 3rd most walks given up, and they were bottom 5 in strikeouts. So clearly pitching is a main issue on the Marlins. Like I said, they need some starting pitching. Their best pitcher is someone that you've never heard of unless you live in Miami. Juan Urena, who had a decent season, I'll admit. He didn't finish 500, which is a little bit surprising considering how much run support he got. But he had around a 3.82 ERA. Nothing terrible, but nothing amazing there. So Derek Jeter said he wants to cut the payroll to $90 million this season. Right now, it's at $97 million. And only 3 of their players are above $10 million per year. Martin Prado, third baseman. Starlin Castro, who they got in the Stanton trade from the Yankees. And Wei-Ye Chen. You know who that is? I mean, I sure don't. Because you want to know why? This man made less than 10 pitching appearances last year as a starting pitcher. And he's going to make over $12 million. I mean, Talk about stealing a career. The man from Taiwan. You know, you gotta appreciate the man's grind. Seriously, I mean, that's insane. 12 million a year. That's more than $1 million per start for a mediocre mid-table pitcher. I don't know what the Marlins are doing there. I'm surprised he hasn't been traded yet. But then again, what MLB team would want to actually take his salary? So let's talk about the major superstar trades, what everyone's been angry about, what the taxpayers have been angry about. Why are they trading all these good superstars? What are they getting back? So the first trade was D. Gordon, a man that's very dear to my heart. I had him in my first ever MLB fantasy draft. He was coming off that amazing 2014 season with the Dodgers where he finally got a full season role, had 64 stolen bases for the Dodgers, led the MLB. And when I drafted him, he goes off in his first season for the Marlins. 333 average, 60 stolen bases, makes the All-Star team, wins a Golden Glove. He's looking like a future of the Marlins right there. At least that's a guy you signed to a 13-year, $300 million plus deal. I'll tell you that. So D. Gordon, in the past 4 seasons, has led the MLB in stolen bases. Obviously, he's a speedster. He knows the right time to, steal second, steal third. He knows what he's doing. And the only reason why he hasn't gone 4 for 4 is because he had that PED season, 2016, played less than 80 games, so there was really nothing he could have done, except for maybe not cheat, but we can forgive him for that, He's been clean since then. So D. Gordon was scheduled to make $13 million for the next 4 years, very respectable, and this season he was only scheduled to make $11 million, which was top 10 among second basemen, but it's not top 5. So for a guy of his quality that can produce as much as he can, I think that's pretty reasonable. Very reasonable in my opinion. So he's traded to the Mariners. He's going to be their center fielder now because they also have Robinson Cano. And just a quick note, the Mariners, for some reason, have 3 of the top 10 highest paid salaries for second baseman. They have Gene Segura, who's number 10. They have number 1 Robinson Cano making $24 million, and they have D. Gordon. I don't know what the Marlins' plans are there. I mean, the Mariners' plans. But something's going on there. Something's fishy in Seattle. I like it. But, so, Mariners traded Nick Nader, Christopher Torres, and Robert Duggar, all minor leaguers, minor league prospects. So, obviously, it was a clear salary dump. Arguably, could be the worst trade this offseason for the Marlins, considering it was a clear salary dump. They're not getting as much as they're really giving up to the Mariners. Nick Nader is really the only guy that I can see potentially actually playing for the Marlins because he was actually top 5 prospect for the Mariners farm system, and he's going to be around there for the Marlins as well. And he is a relief pitcher, which the Marlins desperately need, considering I'm pretty sure Farquaad was their pitcher last year. Freaking King Farquaad was their pitcher. I loved seeing his name. I went to 5 Marlins games last year, and he always pitched, and I love him. Because he's long hair. I'm pretty sure he's long hair too. Not 100% sure, but just a quick note. Derek Jeter said attendance is going to rise this season. And I can't honestly believe that. I can. Because the Marlins had the lowest attendance in the National League last year. So how can it get really worse? And if you look at the statistics, it says, 20,000 was the average attendance. That's really just how many tickets sold. Because I went to 5 games. There was no more than 5,000 people there. It was totally empty. And that's with a lot of superstars, with a pretty decent team. So clearly Miami, even with these stars, wasn't really giving love back to the team. You got to admit. So change was needed. Derek Jeter is looking for that long-term route. So Nick Nader, let's get back onto him. He throws around 94 miles per hour. His best pitch is his changeup, which is always good. You want relievers to have good off-speed stuff. They don't necessarily need the 100, 102-mile fastballs that are absolutely insane. So he could be called up easily because the Marlins had the 6th worst cumulative ERA among all pitchers in the MLB. So they're nearly giving up 5 runs a game at an ERA of 4.82. But their hitting was so good last year that they won 77 games. And just to put this into context, the Pirates had 75 wins, so 2 less, and had an ERA of 4.22. More than half a run differential there, and yet they still had 2 less wins. So clearly, Marlins were amazing at batting. Pitching is an issue. And guys, I don't even know how to introduce this next trade. Obviously, it's everybody's favorite player in Miami. The man, the human cheat code, the 6'6" freak, Giancarlo Stanton. I mean, why do you trade a guy like that? I mean, I get it. You signed him to arguably the worst contract in all of sports because he came off a great season and he was hyped up. It was, it's his time to make the money. And we gave him just a little too much, just a little, over $300 million. But the Yankees are going to take $260 million of that contract, while the Marlins only have to pay up, I think, it's around 25 to 35 million. So they're getting rid of that. Yankees are taking that up. But the problem is, Stanton won the freaking MVP. You don't trade MVPs. That's the players you build around. I get it. It's a terrible contract. Jeter wants to make the profit, but he's an MVP. He hit 59 home runs. He led the MLB in home runs and RBIs. He literally takes the phrase, I'm going to take you 450 dead center, to a whole new meaning. Did you see him in that home run derby? He was just killing the ball. He was hitting it 480 left center, no doubters. It didn't even look like he was breaking a sweat out there. Only Aaron Judge could really top him, because Aaron Judge is also another cheat code. Aaron Judge and Stanton on the same team, that's not fair. That really isn't fair. That's like the Warriors in the NBA. Yankees, World Series or bust right there. Okay, so obviously he's in his prime right now. Stanton's in his prime. It is a salary dump. So what did the Marlins get for an MVP? What are they getting? They got Starlin Castro and minor leaguers Jorge Guzman and Jose Devers, who is the cousin of Rafael Devers. I believe he's the third baseman for the Red Sox, who's incredibly talented. He had like a 7-year, $43 million deal. He's looking like the next big power hitter in the MLB, next big Latino star. So let's get more into the detail about Starlin Castro, because he is the only major leaguer that they got in this trade. Castro is a second baseman. He had a really good season, so he's going to be D. Gordon's replacement. He has a good contract, so he's locked up for the next 2 years for around $11 million. And he has a third-year option, team option, $16 million that the Marlins can accept. I doubt Derek Jeter will, knowing his salary issues and new policy. So he'll get traded soon. He might even get traded in this same offseason because Castro doesn't want to play for the Marlins. And can you really blame him? The Marlins are looking like they're going to be the worst team in the MLB. Jeter has made the Marlins a very terrible place for free agents to come. Why would they want to come to the Marlins when you see the direction they're going in? And it takes a lot of work to make Miami an undesirable place for free agents. Seriously, the amount of Hispanic and Spanish culture here, and considering how many Latinos play in the MLB, it's very hard to actually make them not want to play baseball. Jeter's got a lot of work to do with this team. But let's get into the minor leaguers. So the prospects are really nothing special. Guzman is the only one with a real chance to get called up. He's also a reliever. So clearly Marlins know their weaknesses. They're going for those young pitchers, possibly getting called up. He is currently ranked number 2 in the Marlins farm system, as he can reach 100 without breaking a sweat. He's a human flamethrower. You get a lot of those these days. And of course, with human flamethrowers, he's got struggles with his accuracy and control. And his off-speed stuff isn't really major league ready yet. And these days, a lot of major league hitters, nearly all of them can hit 100-mile-per-hour pitches. Even though it sounds crazy, they can do it. If you watch that AL Championship, I was watching Astros versus Yankees. Yankees have like a 6'8 reliever, throws 100. He was getting teed up. So you can throw 100. You got to have good off-speed stuff. You really do. So he might not get called up immediately, but I can see him getting called up 1-2 years from now. And, of course, for the Marlins, the main, positive, it's $25 million off the books for this season. So, good work, Jeter. Great stuff. So, the last major trade is Marcell Ozuna, arguably the best value player on the Marlins, because he's only scheduled to make $9 million this year. And if you look at his stats from last year, it's just insane that he's only getting paid $9 million. Cardinals got an absolute steal from him, is what I would say, until you really dive into the trade details, because this was the best trade.